the guard from Georgia, playing for Tom Crean for the Bulldogs out of Athens. Then at 3 of the New York. Jesus Christ,
Sean,
fuck me.
get your shit
I go
together.
last, motherfuckers. I go last in the mock draft. You're throwing me off my game.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with Sean Anderson.
Howdy.
And the babyface, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back there have been people in the comment section that are like, guys, when are you doing draft stuff? When are you doing your first mock draft? And some of you guys may be thinking, why is Ricky on this side of the table and not Sean?
You always say that, and no one cares.
No one ever cares.
No one gives a shit.
No one asks.
I feel
No
like
one.
for the mock drafts, they come and they're used to. Like, I come to a podcast that I listen to or watch, and when things are not like they usually are, my brain usually goes,
Please
how am I
address
gonna,
this.
like, how am I going to like this? What's going on? Why are they not the exact same? Maybe it's because I am who I am.
Sounds like a you problem.
Like,
big dog.
I am
Yeah.
a creature of habit. This is what I do.
This is
I
the
am on
PTP.
repeat.
There is no Brandon Swanson. You just get Sean, myself, and Ricky.
And that's a new thing. We're doing the mock drafts on the PTP this year rather than the fast break. So the thumbnail looks a little different.
Maybe it's confusing because it's the same 3 dudes, and it's just like, why is it a different podcast? Because
We should just throw me on that side. Ricky,
it
get up.
is.
Let's just trade.
Just throw Dave over here. Dave's running the ship from now on. But welcome into our first NBA mock draft. We're calling it a preseason mock draft, although the NBA season has started. This is coming out before college.
It's before the college season.
This was supposed to be our way too early. We just didn't get to it until now, and now we can't call it a way too early because it's not
I'm
way
still
too
calling
early.
it way
It's
too early.
kinda
I don't
late.
give a shit.
But thank you for joining us. We're going to go through just our top 10 for the NBA draft. Before we get into everything, though, patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast is where you can come support us, and you can see faces like the one Sean has been making all day.
Well, Dave wanted me to laugh at his joke, I guess. He was like, I'm gonna call it way too early. And then he looked at me. I was like,
I was waiting for
what do you
any
want me to
reaction
do?
at all, and then like you had like an awkward pause, and I was like, where's this going?
Well, I was gonna say like you can call it that because it says that on my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So it says way too early on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it
so
still does.
that's it.
It must be.
The spreadsheet makes the laws.
But before we get into our top 10 and about the order, Dave brought up, why don't we look back a little bit at last year and where were we and some kind of takeaways. The one I'll throw out is Dave's the only one that had Ja Morant in his top 10 before the season even
Magic
started.
take a point guard with my rule.
The number 1 pick was also very interesting. Both Dave and I had RJ Barrett. Sean had Romeo Langford as the number 1 pick
Nailed
in the
it.
Bold Sean.
Nailed
NBA
it.
draft. We all had Nasir Little. You guys had Nasir Little. Yeah, you guys had him higher than I did, but I still had him at 6. Zion was at what? I had him at 5. Sean had him at 7. Dave had him at 6.
Yeah.
So really, outside the top 1 pick, we were all stupid on that front.
I thought he was overrated.
Yep.
And I
Nothing
even
but
had,
watch him clown on high schoolers.
Clearly, I was wrong.
Yep.
And
So.
Dave and I even had Trey Jones in our mock draft, who he went back to college, and we did not see that coming. Also, Cavaliers Shemi Shatu was in Dave's top 10, and he's now in the Bulls G League.
No, they cut him though.
Yeah,
they
he's
signed
on
him
the
to an
Windy
actual
City-
contract, and then they cut him.
All I know is he's on the Windy Shitty Bulls.
Yeah, I even
but-
had EJ Montgomery in there, and yikes!
Oh, yeah,
Quentin
exactly,
Grimes back
Kentucky.
in college.
Jeez.
Yikes!
But let's hope we're a little bit better this time around. How we did the order is we didn't just take it from Tankathon. Is I went ahead, used my OBS. I put up the Tankathon website, which you guys are looking at right now, and I'm going to have it just boom, right there and then. It did its little thing. That's the order. So what you saw on the screen just now is what it is. For our audio listeners that are like, Ricky, this does not help me. The Knicks got the number 1 pick, Bulls at 2, Pelicans at 3, the Warriors at 4, because they're probably going to have a high pick this year, the Kings at 5, Thunder at 6, Wizards at 7, Grizzlies at 8, Pistons at 9, and the Cavs will round things out at 10.
And the reason why Ricky recorded it is because the Bulls are at 2, and he didn't want you guys to complain.
Knicks
Because
were-
he could
Knicks
just be
were at
like,
1.
it was the lottery. Blame Tankathon.
Blame Tankathon.
We're not homers. Although
Knicks-
you guys are.
Do you think I really wanted to have the Knicks at number 1?
No, you wanted the Bulls at 2, though.
No, I did not want the Knicks at 1.
What? Do you want the Bulls at 7?
One tank.
That's it. The Bulls will be 7.
One-click
That's the
pony.
rule, right?
One-click pony. But We
One
now
click
start.
pony.
Yeah, because
Who clicks a pony?
only one click.
Right.
It's like the phrase comes from one trick pony, but this was a one click pony. Like one click. That's all you get.
So dumb.
That's all you get. You've never heard the phrase one trick pony?
I have, but
Okay.
one click pony's stupid because one trick pony makes sense. One click doesn't.
Well, one click is what I'm saying. But Sean, let's start out with you. What's your top 10 for our first NBA mock draft?
All right, let's start off. We're going to start off number 1, New York Knicks taking LaMelo Ball, guard, playing his ball overseas right now, but originally from Chino Hills, California. Then at 2, the Chicago Bulls taking Anthony Edwards, the guard playing for Tom Crean's Georgia Bulldogs. Then at 3, the New Orleans Pelicans taking Cole Anthony, the guard out of UNC. Then at 4, the Warriors taking number 1 player in this recruiting class, James Wiseman, the center from Memphis. Then at 5, the Kings taking Scott Lewis, the guard from Florida. Then at 6, the Oklahoma City Thunder taking Denny Avdia, the 6'8" forward from overseas. We have had a lot of takes where we have tried to pronounce it.
5 whole minutes since the first one.
We got it this time. We're moving on.
Now, when we pronounce it wrong, tell us in the comments section.
And here's the thing. We got 2 more guys to screw it up,
Yeah.
so I can't wait. At 7, I have the Wizards taking Khalil Whitney, the forward out of Kentucky. Then at 8, here's another one that we've been screwing up. Memphis Grizzlies taking Theo Maledon. God damn it. Maledon.
Don.
That's Maledon.
That's Melidon.
That's Maledon.
Meladon would be an
Yeah,
A.
you fucked that up. That's not how you
Maledon.
phonetically pronounce that. Theo Maledon.
Maledon.
Guard playing his ball overseas. Then 9, Detroit Pistons picking Nico Mannion, the guard from Arizona. And then at 10, the Cavs picking RJ Hampton, the forward, who's currently playing in the NBL of Australia. Please, let's move on.
Dave, what's your top 10?
After such a strong start like that, you're putting me on the spot. At number 1, I've got the Knicks going with a hometown kid in Cole Anthony. At number 2, I've got the Bulls going after Anthony Edwards, the guard out of Georgia. At 3, I've got the Pelicans taking Denny Avdia, forward international. At 4, I've got the Warriors taking James Wiseman, center from Memphis. 5, I've got the Kings taking Jaden McDaniels, the forward out of Washington. At 6, I've got the Thunder taking LaMelo Ball, Chino Hills / international. At 7, I've got the Wizards taking Theo Maledon, guard international. At 8, I've got the Grizz going RJ Hampton, guard international. Theme here. At 9, I've got the Pistons going Tyrese Maxey, guard out of Kentucky. And at 10, I've got the Cavs taking Precious Achiuwa, forward out of Memphis.
And then this is where it comes all off the rails because I'll even throw the names out wrong even when we've said them right. But mine, starting at number 1, the Knicks go with LaMelo Ball playing overseas in Australia. Then the Bulls go with Denny Avdia, overseas Israel, I want to say, is where he's from.
Yeah.
Then the Pelicans go with RJ Hampton, also playing in Australia. Then James Wiseman falls to the Golden State Warriors because no one expected them to be this high in the draft, but they are due to injuries.
Maybe I did.
Then Anthony Edwards goes to the Kings at 5, guard out of Georgia. Cole Anthony, the guard from UNC, goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder at 6. Theo Maledon, guard from France, goes to the Wizards at number 7. Then Josh Green, the guard from Arizona, going to the Grizzlies at 8. His teammate Nico Mannion going to the Pistons at number 9. And then Isaiah Stewart, the forward from Washington, going at number 10 to the Cavs.
And the reason why we usually say, like, oh, X from international is usually because, as you can see, we can't even pronounce their names. So
Exactly.
God save us if we're trying to pronounce
But,
their team names correctly. So
Yeah.
we're doing
Names,
this so we don't look at like bigger idiots.
Yeah.
We know where they play. We just can't say them.
And I mean, that's just me being different, and I should have just said international. But
No, I mean that's good. You're actually giving more information than he plays his balls not in the United States.
Not in America.
LaMelo
His balls
Ball
are in
and
a
RJ
different country.
Hampton are throwing a whole wrench into it because it's like I didn't want international.
You want New Zealand Breakers and
But I mean, they're American kids playing overseas.
Yep.
Let's do this like a typical mock draft. We're gonna go one by one. Knicks are at number 1. We all have a point guard. Sean, I didn't expect you to have LaMelo Ball with me at number 1.
Why not?
Because I assumed the Sean Anderson thing was LaMelo Ball is not going to be the number 1. I just
Why?
assumed some ball hate.
I've never hated
baller brand.
I've never hated the Balls.
Okay.
I don't like their father, but I'm very high on Lonzo. I've always wished the best for him. I've always talked about how good of a defensive player he is. I don't like him in the half court. He's not a good passer in the half court. He's not a good initiator in the half court, but he's a phenomenal full court in transition passer. He's got a horrible jump shot, but everyone knows that. You don't need a shot doctor to tell you that. But LaMelo Ball, I mean, I still had him going 2 overall in the mock drafts in 2017 because, I mean, he is a talented player. And with all of that taken in, LaMelo is even more talented than his brother. I mean, we see the stuff that's coming out from when he's playing in the NBL and he's playing overseas, and he looks really good. He looks pretty polished. He's not a complete player. I don't know if he's ever going to be a guy like his brother that can take over a game with his scoring, but he is a more skilled scorer than... okay, we can talk about Chino Hills and him putting up 69, but I don't think he has a fully fleshed out NBA scoring game. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about these guys as pros and not what they were doing in high school. Yep. I mean, That's fair. I think Hashim Thabit dropped like 70 in a game because he's so big. Like he's not a guy who's going to drop 20. But I think he's not going to be a guy that can be a guy that's going to put up 25 points a game. He's going to be in that at probably max 20 points a game. But what he does is lead an offense. He's a really great leader. He's pretty mature for his age too. The biggest issue with LaMelo is his defense. He doesn't seem locked in consistently on every possession, either in high school or in the stuff that we saw overseas as well when they were playing in Lithuania, or even what I've seen so far in his current days.
Got a shout out to the Drew League too.
Yeah, in the True League as well. But I haven't seen him be locked in defensively. But he's got a very unique body, and I think that with his athleticism, his body, and his leadership, at least with the ball in his hands, and his kind of his mature game that we've seen offensively, I think that he is going to make for a very nice number 1 pick. Can it change? Absolutely, but right now I think he is probably the most impressive player that I've seen. It 100% can change, but what I've seen, especially from the breakdown that I saw from the Dime Drop, Jay Kyle Mann does great breakdowns. Yep. He broke down LaMelo Ball. He pointed out some negatives from him, but taking all of that in, I still do think that he's worth a risk taking him number 1 overall. And if you pair him with RJ Barrett, might not be the best defensive pairing, but they can move the ball. They can shoot from the outside. They can put up points. I think they could help each other out. So I think it'd be a really interesting pairing, and I think you do need a guard on that team. LaMelo can bring a lot of length and awareness and good court vision on that team. I think that'd be a nice addition.
Well, and I mean, you say lack of defense. They've got a guy in that, and that's Frank on that team. So if they need a guy to come in for a defensive
play
possession,
defense,
they have Frank who can play defense. Why'd you go with Cole Anthony, though, Dave? You're the one oddball out right now. Both LaMelo. You have Cole Anthony to the Knicks.
If I'm honest, my first take on this did have LaMelo Ball at number 1.
You just didn't want everything to be the same?
No. He fell because Cole Anthony is, in my mind, what the Knicks need. They need someone who can take over games, who can score at will at any level. He's a great ball handler. He can navigate traffic. He's got... He's smaller size-wise, but he's strong also. So, I don't think he's ever going to be a top-tier defender out there either. He's definitely shown the ability or willingness to at least play defense, which is more than LaMelo Ball has. But for him, it's really being able to take games over. And as I look at this Knicks roster right now, it seems, and I know we're like 6 games into the season, but it seems the way it's constructed, they need someone who can be that guy. Like RJ Barrett can get buckets, but Mitch Rob isn't going to be your leading scorer. You know, if you're hoping on the future, Marooks isn't going to be the guy. Randall may or may not be. We'll see. But it's just they need someone at the guard position, ball in hand, so you can be confident in, night out. And I love Cole Anthony's fit on this team. And I think that he absolutely would embrace the big city life. He absolutely would embrace the Garden. Like, everything about him and the Knicks makes sense to me. When I look at LaMelo, I just have so many questions about his turnovers, shot selection. He's, perma green lit since he was like 9 years old. Yeah. So he has those 3 of 15 shooting nights pretty often, unfortunately. And that's the thing is like for as much good and the insane court vision that he has, his size that gives him the advantage over so many guys. He'll have to put on muscle mass over time, but he's still such a young kid. I'm not really concerned about that. It's just he needs to play more controlled, and he gets caught up in the tempo of the game. I feel like I remember watching his highlights from high school way back when he was like going shot for shot with guys. He takes it personally, and he just gets so caught up in the game, which as a fan is awesome, but as a head coach can be infuriating because he throws the offense out of sync. He throws it. He's just like, fuck, I'm doing this, and it's on them to stop me now. Cool, but at the same time, like, is that really what's best for your team winning games right now?
Yeah.
And I get it. Still young, but he is incredibly mature for his age because of what he's had to go through, being a ball, being part of that family, going internationally, coming back, going up against grown-ass men for basically the last 3 years has been the best way for him to grow, perhaps, rather than playing against kids in high school who he just dominates because he's on a different level.
Yeah, and it is tough to get a gauge on him when it does come to his scoring abilities. Because I mean, one thing that he has shown, at least in the NBL, is that he hasn't turning the ball over a ton. First game, 2 turnovers, one turnover, 4 turnovers, 3 turnovers for a guy that is pretty ball heavy and is putting up 4 assists, 8 assists, 4 assists, 7 assists. It's pretty decent numbers, and I do like to see that. But you're correct about the actual shooting. Hasn't been efficient. We don't get full stats from the NBL, but apparently his field goal percentage was 44, 32, 21, and 36 for a total of 34, which is a yikes. But his free throw percentage is good. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to have the same issues that his brother does shooting.
Yeah, so his shot's not as bad as...
his shot's better. Yeah, his shot's way better than Lonzo. It's not saying much, but it's better.
Great.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But I think it can go
If
in.
it goes in,
and that was what we were saying with Lonzo, but I think it has at least a better look
when
than
it doesn't
Lonzo.
start
So it
from
might
your
go in
lower
a little
hip.
easier.
Yeah.
So
And he's not doing the Ricky, I'm going to catch it, cock down, and then come back up with it before I fire it.
he does have some issues with this game, and that's why he's not locked in at number one. This isn't a Zion that Zion ran away with it immediately after one game.
It was just like...
It's not going to be that with LaMelo, and there is things that can 100% take him back, but he is an aggressive shooter. He isn't consistent at all, but he is a guy that is going to be aggressive at points, but I also wonder how that's going to change when he hits the NBA. Like, is he doing that right now because he's trying to show out, and is he doing that in high school because it's more fun to be shooting 30 times a game? And is it fun to do that when you're playing in Lithuania? Is it fun to do that when you're playing in New Zealand? But when it comes to the NBA, will that mindset change? Because he is a guy that isn't unwilling to pass. He is a guy that is going to go out there and dish the ball around. So maybe he will try, at least in the NBA, to be more of a guy that is, team-oriented, team-focused, and will move the ball around and try to get it to guys like RJ Barrett. Maybe he doesn't feel like he has to do as much of a load because he is playing with more brand name guys like an RJ Barrett, who is a top 3 pick.
Well, that's kind of where I would go. Where do you see that pairing of Ball and Barrett? Because when I looked at the Knicks, like I said, I feel like they need a guy who can just take over games. And do you think that'll be his role on this team, or do you think that he'll be the guy who kind of unlocks Kevin Knox being able to take that next step, the guy who can make those other players better around him?
I've consistently thought, the reason why I had RJ over Ja last year is because I think RJ can take over a game. So I think he's a guy to help RJ, and I think he's a guy that can hopefully play off ball of RJ when RJ is the facilitator and the initiator. And RJ, we've seen, has shown that he's a good passer in college and has shown so far through the NBA in the first 5 or 6 games that he has the ability still to move the ball around at the NBA level. I think that he is going to be a complementary piece to RJ Barrett, and I think RJ Barrett is going to be your guy. I don't think Kevin Knox is that guy. Maybe he can help out Kevin Knox, and maybe Kevin Knox could be a third option for that team offensively. But you're drafting now to build around RJ Barrett. If RJ Barrett was in this draft, he is the number 1 player in this draft, and I think he's kind of running away with it. I still think that he is that skilled of a player. You were talking about such a top-heavy draft last year when it comes to superstar potential, and I still think that RJ has that. I don't know if any of those guys are jumping out to me, at least at the position of need for the New York Knicks. They don't need another big. Wiseman, I think, might be able to be a star, but again, they don't need a big, and I don't think it's going to be. I think he's going to be a star if he's in the right position, Wiseman. Where with LaMelo, I think LaMelo would be a nice complementary piece to RJ Barrett. I think RJ Barrett is the guy you're building around in New York.
Well, and the thing that I also look at with the Knicks that makes this a little bit, I want to use the word convoluted, and that's not even probably the right word, is yes, they need a point guard in my mind, but they also need shooting. And that's what I would try to look for with the Knicks, no matter where you're at in the first round, is who's going to be the guy that I could be like the point guard, but also with shooting. And with Cole Anthony, that's what I want to see more of this year, is how's his shooting going to be? Because when you look at the highlights so far, all it is him driving to the basket. And I feel like if the Knicks get another driver, that's just going to clog things up. They have so many bigs. RJ is more of a driver to me than like a knockdown shooter. And it's like the only true knockdown shooter they have is Kevin Knox, but like we're saying, he hasn't been unleashed yet. He hasn't been unlocked to what they expect. Like, yeah, he has the best 3-point percentage of guys taking at least like 4 threes a game, but he's still not hitting them consistently to where that's what maybe I would look at. Also, are they going to look for a guard that, like you said, maybe he's more of an assist guy? Like, would maybe and obviously you're not going to do this at 1, but would Theo be more up their alley if they're later in the top 10 where it's like, hey, he's not going to be the guy being the scorer. RJ's the first scorer, but Theo can play defense and maybe get other people involved.
I would put my money on the Knicks not drafting an international player at the top of a draft for a very, very long time.
I mean,
Kristaps worked out.
Kristaps.
Did it?
I mean,
They traded him.
Yeah.
one of the
Like
best
he
players
fizzled
on
out.
that draft.
He's
It's
a very good player.
Yeah.
But again,
They
What
didn't.
you're saying.
It wasn't the wrong pick.
yeah.
They picked
booed
the
him
right
on draft
guy.
night, and then they watched him play and like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's dig back to this well again. But that was, bad coaching shit.
It's difficult with the Knicks too, just because what we've seen from Fizdale is heavy isolation ball. So which guy's gonna be the best in isolation? I don't even know. It might be Cole Anthony, but Anthony Edwards seems to be a really good scorer as well. So if they're going to go,
When's the last time we saw a 2-guard go first overall? I mean,
Wiggins,
yeah.
Right?
How's that working?
Oh, 1 overall, right?
Number 1 overall.
Yeah, Wiggins, I think.
Well, he was a 3. He's like
but he's playing 2 now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Wiggins is probably the closest you're going to get to it if you want to say Markelle Fultz is, because he can't, but he's a 1.
Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that I think that being in New York, it's going to come down to a name like LaMelo or if someone truly separates themselves. And I don't think a name has truly separated himself right now. And I think LaMelo Ball, at least, is probably the most intriguing. And I think that he is a guy that has shown that he is more than just his family, and he has the potential to step up a little bit. It is early in his NBL career, so I'm not going to take his stats too much into it.
Yeah.
All of this can change by
week
May
12.
So,
Dude, week 1 of the season, how much of our predictions changed just from watching
100%.
literally
So-
like 3 games?
So I think LaMelo is probably the most intriguing right now. So if I had to take a player from this draft, number 1, I'd take LaMelo, because he is super intriguing with his body and what he can do when he does have the ball in his hands.
What about the Bulls? Both of you guys have Anthony Edwards. I'm going with Denny. International. What do you guys like about Anthony Edwards being the pick for the Bulls at 2?
I find him super intriguing. I think I said this when we were talking a little bit like at the end of the draft last year, that he is a guy that is super intriguing to me. He's a guy that at 6'5" plays like a bigger player. He plays super aggressively. He plays powerful. He is extremely athletic. I really love his potential, and some people have said he can be in that mold that Tom Crean has helped develop, like Dwayne Wade and like Victor Oladipo, that's coming from Jonathan Gavini.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Gavini from ESPN. He says Edwards might have found a mentor and a head coach who helped develop Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo. I really am intrigued by his ability to score. I'm intrigued by his aggressiveness. I think that's something that we've talked about with this team, is that they're missing aggressiveness in Chicago. I know Zach LaVine has shown it at times, but is he going to be aggressive on both ends? And is he going to be able to take the reins? And so far, Zach hasn't been able to do that. But if Anthony Edwards goes out for a Georgia team that's been lacking a lot of success in their program history, at least in the past 20 years, if he goes out there and helps this team, pushes them forward, and goes out there and puts up 20 a night for Georgia and is aggressive, attacking the bucket left and right, I think it's going to be tough for this team to pass up on Anthony Edwards, because, yes, he is 6'5", and might not be a true small forward, but with his physicality, I think he might be able to play a little bit bigger in the NBA than his height might show. 6'5" guys can play small forward in the NBA nowadays, so I wouldn't be too worried about his actual positioning. I think he might be able to be a 3 for this Bulls team, and I don't think they're exactly stuck to having Zach be on this team long term. So I think you're drafting for the future here, and I think Anthony Edwards has the most star potential, at least with the guys available. So I'm super intrigued by Edwards, and I think that he'd be an exciting pick for Bulls fans.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely one of the most talented kids in this draft. I think he might actually have one of the highest top ends as well. And
Could we
we've
be
seen
talking
him.
about number 1 pick Anthony Edwards?
Oh, absolutely. He's
100%.
absolutely in the conversation.
There is so many guys that are in that conversation because of this draft class.
Yeah.
It's guys that have a ton of potential, but no one's separating themselves enough with their actual play with where they are right now in their
Until
game.
someone Zions it and just comes out
That's the
week
thing.
1 and we go, well,
And he's the guy who can do it. That's
Okay.
the thing. He is scary good, and he's done it like his entire life. And that's where I'm super excited. Is like he's a guy who can take it to the next level. And you mentioned the whole Zach LaVine. Would they take another 2 guard? Would they take a 3? And I just keep going back and wondering. I can't.
Go!
keep
I
going.
have to sneeze.
oh, okay.
I was like, what the fuck is going on behind
I'm trying to
me?
sneeze.
Sean standing behind. You guys can't see it because
Yeah.
the logo.
Yeah, because
is-
I was trying to be professional and not like sneeze on camera. And Dave's like looking at me like, I don't know what to do.
I didn't know if you're going to the camera. I thought that
I
was something
already
with
did the camera, then I was coming
Okay.
back, and then I had to sneeze.
How the sausage is made, ladies and gentlemen.
Point being,
How it's
Dave,
made.
Dave can't do anything.
I'm
without-
easily distracted.
You can't
you know this.
You can't multitask.
No, I multitask great when I'm not in this room.
It's you problem.
Go on, Dave.
I don't think you worry about Zach LaVine. You're at the top of the draft. I'm not concerned about taking someone who plays a similar role because the top end for Anthony Edwards is sky high. Zach LaVine may or may not be the future of this team. I'm not passing up on someone's talent as Anthony Edwards at the number 2 spot. You don't miss those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with me going with Denny over like an Edwards, maybe it's because I'm thinking more of like, okay, Zach's our guy at 2, and like I know what Sean said, like, oh, guys who are 6'5", and like you said his size and then pulled up his footage. I'm like, he don't look like body wise like he's a 6'5" guy. Like his
built.
shoulders and everything. It's like, you sure he's not 6'9"?
Yeah,
it's like
he's
I know
built.
he's not 6'9", but like he's built like a big boy, but he's 6'5".
Here's the thing too: is like heights are always fucky
Yeah.
with this stuff. So I've seen him listed as 6'5", but on this ESPN article, they have him listed 6'3",
Okay.
6'3", 218, 6'10" wingspan. So he might even be smaller than what he actually is. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that is compared to Eric Gordon. We've seen Eric Gordon play the 3 for Houston before. So it's difficult right now because the best thing that the Bulls have are their guards, at least, in Kobe White and Zach LaVine. You could make an argument for their bigs as well. Markin and Carter are an intriguing pair.
Yeah.
But I think the Bulls need a superstar, and we've talked about this a little bit. I think Anthony Edwards can be a superstar. The biggest issues that I do have is, and this has come out, that he's not always locked in defensively, and this is coming from guys that know much more about this stuff right now than me. I haven't been watching these guys throughout high school a ton. I haven't been watching these guys in what's the
AAU.
I've been
The
watching
circuit,
a ton of their AAU stuff. These guys have been actually watching them front
Pretty much every day. They're following them around basically. Like,
Yes.
hey, go from AAU to AAU.
Talent
to AAU.
scouts.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
talent scouts, and they're saying that he's undisciplined defender,
How
isn't
Dave
always
felt at Summer League.
engaged. He's a streaky,
had a ton of fun at Summer League.
streaky perimeter shooter. But I do think that he is a guy that has come on late in his career, and I think that that's something that can be developed, and it is something that if he is able to hit on all of that, he can be a guy that can score at every single level. He could take over a game, and with his aggressiveness, I would absolutely love to see him in Chicago because they need someone with some bite.
And he's got the body to play defense. You mentioned that 6'10" wingspan. Like, if he continues to grow, and I know he's like this class, age-wise for a freshman, is kind of all over the place. You've got guys who will be 21 by the time the draft happens. Other guys, will be like 18 and a half or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, we're all over the place. This is a weird class because of reclassifications.
Theo was born June 12th, 2001. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
LaMelo was August 22nd, 2001. Like, these
Yeah.
guys are so young. But there is some of these guys that are a little bit older. I think even RJ Hampton's extremely young as well.
Yeah.
So he reclassified. So, I mean, in this draft, we were talking about it, there's not a lot of imposing players, at least size-wise. LaMelo is out there because he is, 6'9", but he is small.
Is he 6'9" now?
extremely
I heard
thin.
that 6'6", 6'7". Now we're just putting him at 6'9".
He's big. He's
Yeah.
big, but
But he's not like
he's
big.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
There's all the talk that he's bigger than his brother.
Yeah.
and
Well, we know
LaMelo-
he's taller than his brother.
And Lonzo's like 6'7".
Lonzo's 6'6".
Yeah, so I mean he's got to be tall. I mean
He's at least 6'7". It's the question of like how much taller is he now?
yeah,
And-
but he's
yeah.
thin. So, and that's something too. Anthony Edwards, now he might be 6'3", but he's built. Cole Anthony, one of another premier player in this game, or this draft class, he's under 6'3", I think.
Yeah, he's probably 6'1".
Yeah, Nico Mannion's small as well. Yeah. Theo, I believe, is small as well. There's not a ton of big guys out there, and I think that's why Denny's popping up, and obviously Wiseman being at 7'1", like he's physically imposing.
Yeah.
But there isn't those guys like RJ and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Zion. There aren't these great wing prospects out there, and I think this is probably the biggest thing. Guard. Yeah, this is the biggest thing that I think is the weakness of this draft is there aren't those guys that are in that middle position that could possibly be franchise changers. So Anthony Edwards, he might not hit a growth spurt, but he is at least physically imposing, and that's what I do like about him in a draft that is kind of lacking that in those guys that can be ball handlers.
Well, and that's and I know that before I jump the gun, with me and Denny thing with the Bulls
is some more about this.
I kind of like what I see. From I know small sample size. I know he played last year, but he can shoot the three. We can plug him at the three position, the small forward. And maybe this is just me hearing what the Bulls are telling me one thing and showing me another. When they say, we want to work on our transition offense and we want to be a team that runs, they're doing the whole run with us thing. I see his passes, and it's he leads guys in transitions, whether it's a one-handed bounce pass, whether it's hey, I'm going to throw the ball down the court. And I know some of those are Ricky, some of those could be ill-advised, intercepted by guys, but in transition, he could be a guy that helps push this team, add some shooting from the outside that right now we can't hit the broadside of a barn from the outside. So, I mean, that's really why I was looking more at a Denny more than an Anthony Edwards. Plus, I mean, like Dave, you said, forget that Zach's on the team. I haven't done that. I haven't had that mindset of no, Zach is here. He's our two.
I mean, if you believe that Denny is better than Anthony Edwards, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Take him. My thought is don't let a player in that position stop you from taking the best player available in your mind.
Exactly. You've always tried to tell me, it's Ricky, don't think need. BPA.
Yeah, unless it's a situation where it's just there's no way you can play. The Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is good enough that I would not take James Wiseman unless Wiseman has a year where he's looking like Anthony Davis out there, where it's maybe it could be a tweener and play stretch four out there alongside another big.
Or
if he does something of that caliber,
or
if he could
be as dominant as a player as DeAndre Ayton is.
Exactly.
Or maybe he doesn't have that great of a shot like Anthony Davis did, or the ability to stretch out with his ball handling abilities. But if he is that physically imposing, maybe you do not write him off.
Exactly.
Because Mitchell Robinson would be a very intriguing trade piece for people too, and that way you could possibly add to your team while also improving that position. Because we so far from Mitchell Robinson, defensive monster.
Oh my God, he massacres people on the boards.
Offensively, he isn't really there yet.
Yeah.
He's still extremely young. I wouldn't write anybody off for any team, but I think with all of these teams, Knicks, Bulls, maybe not the Pelicans and Warriors, but Kings, Thunder, Pistons, you need a young superstar.
Yep.
You need one of these guys. We talked about it consistently with the Magic. You guys need a young superstar. They still haven't been able to find it, and that's why they're not going to be a top of the top team in the Eastern Conference. Right now, they're one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. They haven't been winning a ton.
We're making our way back up. Hopefully,
I think they're, or at least when it comes to point wise, they're scoring 90. I'm talking about the Magic. They're scoring 99 points a game and 90, but they're holding guys to 99. But they don't have a superstar yet. And I think with the Bulls too, you haven't had a superstar since really D Rose won the MVP in 2011. Yeah. Some people made the argument for Jimmy Butler, but I was making the argument that he wasn't even a number one on a team, and he kind of showed that bouncing around from 76ers to Minnesota, and he is the number one right now on the Heat team, but they were winning games without him because of Spoelstra and how deep that team is. So I don't think this team has had a superstar since D Rose, and then before that it was Jordan. So I think you need some superstar power, and I think you go after whoever that may be, whether it be Wiseman, whether it be Anthony Edwards. It might be tough though to pick Wiseman since you did put assets into Markkanen and into Wendell Carter Jr.
And we
take
feel
those
good
guys
about
high.
those guys right now. It's just yeah.
What about the next team?
And we know how much of a superstar can change at those positions where you're handling the ball at the 3 and the 2.
What about the next one though? The Pelicans. We're all over the board. Sean's got Cole Anthony. I don't know why I said Mark. Maybe because Mark is in my mind. Cole Anthony. I had RJ. Dave goes Denny. This was one of the hardest picks for me because my next pick of Wiseman, I almost had him go here because it's like they're going to have Jaws off the books. Like they're going to have some openings for their 4s and 5s. Hey, they can go with a Wiseman pair up. What could you imagine pairing up Wiseman and Zion down low? They've got Jackson Hayes too. Like they can create like a little unique front court. And then there's a part of me of like, well, what if they go with like an Anthony Edwards or a Cole Anthony? But they just drafted, or they traded for Lonzo. They've got Drew Holiday still. So for me, this was just one where it's like, well, RJ is my best player available on my board. So let me just give him who I think, well, the best player would probably be Wiseman, then RJ. But I'm not going to go Wiseman. I'm going to go RJ here for the Pelicans. That was kind of like my thinking and how I almost flipped these two and fucked up the rest of my draft because then the Warriors would have been like, great, who do we take?
The reason why I have Cole Anthony here is, and you can make an argument for a lot of players here because they do have, I think there are two that are locked in that are going to be on this team next year for sure, is going to be Zion and it's going to be Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's not moving. Okay. I mean, B.I. is going to to be a free agent. B.I.
getting max from somebody.
He's going to be he's going to be an RFA. So it's not solidified that he's going to be on the Pelicans.
Right.
The Pelicans can match the offer, and they might, but we don't know what position they're going to be in and what direction they want to go to.
Yep.
And they did put in assets to take Jackson Hayes higher than they did take Nikhil Alexander-Walker. And I think at that guard position, you're missing someone who can be explosive and score. And I think that if you have a guy like Zion that could score at the power forward 3, even small 5 level, I think you need to have that at the guard level. And Drew Holiday is a very good player, and he's shown that being able to put up near 20 points per game for, I think, the past 2 years. But I don't think he's an explosive scorer. And Cole Anthony is that. And I think you can pair Cole Anthony up with Drew Holiday and then add Zion on top of that. You could have an extremely good backcourt, and I think you could start building this team a little bit like how the Warriors were built because you have a great shooting 2 in Drew Holiday and a great defensive 2 in Drew Holiday. And I don't know if Cole Anthony's ever going to be Steph levels, but he is a very aggressive player. He can score the ball, and maybe he's not the best passer in the world, but he is capable. And he can play decent defense, probably a little bit better than Steph. So he's not obviously Steph at all, but I think at least if you're trying to build that Warriors model, you're looking for a guy who can handle the ball and score and not be afraid to shoot. And that is what Steph was for that Warriors team. And we always talk about Zion being that Draymond, and maybe you take a little bit pressure off of him so he doesn't hurt himself and doesn't put a ton of pressure on him, but we know how explosive he can be. And he'll be more explosive than Draymond ever was. And I think that you could really build an interesting triumphant there in Cole Anthony, Drew Holiday, and Zion Williamson. And I don't know how much Wiseman can take over a game. And then you're also right now dealing with a lot of lack of spacing on that team. And Wiseman doesn't help that, where I think you can get a little bit more modern, and having Cole Anthony, Drew Holiday, and Zion as your 3 would be extremely interesting. And, Jackson Hayes is still there. He's still young. Yeah. And really all he needs to do is add some weight to his game, and he could be really good. He's extremely aggressive. So I like him as a 5, and I wouldn't really move away from him. And you do have Lonzo there. I don't think Lonzo's, in the future plans for sure. B.I. is there, but I don't know if he's in the future plans for sure for that team. I think it wouldn't be shocking if they, matched an offer for B.I., but then signed and traded him. I don't think it would be shocking if they moved away from Lonzo. I don't think it would be shocking if they tried to add more assets to this team to try to build around Zion. Yep. And I think Cole Anthony would be a very interesting piece to do that with. More interesting than Wiseman is just because of the way that Wiseman does play. Wiseman, again, might be the best player in this entire draft, but I don't know if he's a fit for every single team. And when you have a superstar like Zion, or at least a player with superstar potential like Zion, I want to make sure that comes out the most, and I think Cole Anthony could probably do that, at least with who's available on this board.
The way I look at it is I agree with some of the pieces on there about who's their guarantee guys, who's moving forward with this team, but I look at their lack of depth at the wing, and I think what's the best place for Zion to be? I kind of lean towards the center. I kind of think that you just roll with...
Make him be the focal point.
Just run with a team of guys who are between, 6'4" and 6'11", and that's your team. You don't need a traditional center because you have just rangy guys in every position. Lonzo has that incredible wingspan. Drew has great lockdown wingspan. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, same thing. Josh Hart, great defender. We know he can defend 2 through 5, basically. B.I., if he stays on the team, which I hope he does, again, long, athletic, players, and that's where I would keep going with. Now that you have that, let's get that space there. Let's go with Denny. Let's go with someone who has great size, decent enough ball handling ability, can go out there and kind of give you that X factor, because I think you can stretch Zion to the 5 in some lineups, have Denny out there at the 4, or play BI at the 4 and Denny at the 3, really, whatever matchup really works best for you, and give them someone who's happy to space out that floor for them. Give them another offensive weapon, because right now, without Zion on the floor, it's been interesting. I've really enjoyed the way I've seen this Pelicans team evolve over their first couple of weeks in the season.
There hasn't been great results, but yeah, they've been.
Well, they're playing close enough, and BI has been BI, who we saw at the end of last year, and with someone who hasn't really had an off season. He, had that health issue where it shut him down at the end of last year, was getting healthy again due to the blood clot issue, and he just runs right in this year and picks right back up without missing a beat. That's incredible. He's shooting at a clip that's not sustainable, I would think. But look, when you're shooting that well, who's going to question it,
Yeah.
So I look at this. I'm like, add spacing. I love Jackson Hayes. I definitely love the way he plays up-tempo. And that's where I kind of question the Wiseman, because this is a run-and-gun team. And Wiseman's foot speed is definitely up for question. I know there was talk about he's a 7-footer playing against guys who are 6'6" at center, so he doesn't have to hustle every game, which is the DeAndre Ayton kind of question again of where's this guy's motivation going to come from? Is he going to be able to show it every night out there? And I really like the idea of what he could be on this team, but
I think Wiseman.
I roll it back.
Wiseman's greatest plus, and some people might be like, is who his coach is, because I feel like Penny is going to be on him. There's not going to be a situation where Wiseman will be like, oh, well, I've got it against this. I feel like Penny Hardaway is the guy where it's he's going to be on those recruits that he brought in.
Such a loaded,
because they've got a lot
group
to live up for. I know that they weren't. When we were on the podcast last week,
the fact how low they're rated.
Blown that I think they're rated 20 coming into the year.
Yeah.
But Penny Hardaway, I think, is going to keep on them to where that's going to be a plus for Wiseman. But the Pelicans, too, that's why I went with RJ. Of scoring, can play some defense, he can shoot from the outside, and can help this team because, like Sean said, I like Zion. Like you said, I like Jackson Hayes. I like what they've got.
So where does he fit with this loaded back? Who's the guy they're moving on from? Drew Holiday, we're saying stay, right? Stay, consensus stay. I think it would be a massive mistake for them to move away from Drew Holiday. Can they? Yes, but I think it'd be a mistake. Yeah, but he's a great veteran in that locker room too, which you need to keep somebody around to be that great presence. Lonzo Ball has one more year under contract. He could be a piece of moves.
That's why
I told you guys this year that he was going to be a bench guard anyway.
Yeah, that's why Lonzo's the reason why I didn't have Cole Anthony here, because I feel like it'd be ill-advised to move on from Lonzo so soon.
I disagree.
Let him at least
play out. We're going to see peak
like,
Lonzo once Zion's back, though. That's the thing. Is this is Lonzo not able to run the style that we've seen Lonzo successful in. You give him that big guy, athletic, who can just oop every time down the court, who you can just dish down to the low post,
but that's
not worry about
that's a part. What happens if they try to take that away? What happens when you're not in transition?
I think.
And that's the thing with me is if they're able to stop transition, if they're able to put a guy immediately on Lonzo to try to slow him down and not be able to get back in transition and let the other guys catch up, how is he going to react? And I don't know if he can react positively enough to be a guy that will work his way into the starting lineup consistently. And if you're saying he's going to be a bench guy, well, guess what? There's going to be a guy that's going to be cheaper long term on that bench that can play a very good guard position. He's not going to be a starter at any point, but he is a very all-around solid basketball player in Nicky Alexander-Walker, and he's going to be cheaper because it doesn't have that name. He doesn't have that number 2 overall draft pick tied to his name in Lonzo Ball. I think it'd be smart for them to move away from Lonzo Ball, and I think if you draft a guard like Cole Anthony, you could still play up-tempo. You could play really quick. That guy is so quick and speedy, and that's why I would really like to pair him with that. I think you can keep that up-tempo going, and I think he's a great fit in that backcourt next to Drew Holiday. And if you need some size, you need some guy who isn't going to turn the ball over and just be a consistent player out there, you could bring in Nicky Alexander-Walker. And I would say spend the money and keep BI out there, because if BI is continuing to shoot like he is, then I think it'd be stupid to move away from him. And he does then provide that spacing that you need. And then you have Jackson Hayes. And I think Cole Anthony, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jackson Hayes could be a very intriguing starting 5. And if you want to take Hayes out there and put Melly out there and give more shooting out there, you can 100% do that, because Melly's been pretty decent for them in spurts so far through this year. So I think that going with speed and ball handling at the guard position would probably be their best move, and that's why I have Cole Anthony. I'm iffy on the Wiseman thing, just because he does seem like a body, and I don't think they really need that right now. And the RJ Hampton thing is like,
Ricky, how's RJ Hampton going to fit in running this team?
For me, it's exactly what you were going into. What's the position I was looking at? And I looked at the 2, where it's like, in 2 years, you've got Etuan Moore's up at the end of this year. You got JJ Redick up at the end of next year. Like, I like Josh Hart, but Josh Hart to me is never going to be the guy that's like the consistent starter for them. He's going to be a guy off the bench. I look at Nikhil, and it's like, from what Sean's saying, it's almost like well, if you get rid of Lonzo and let's say you don't go with Cole Anthony, do you kind of move Nikhil into the backup 1 kind of spot, but you have Nikhil locked down? I would feel a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's blanking me. Sean with a name and missing up names. I'm missing up normal words. Comfortable with having RJ, Nikhil, and Josh Hart as my 3. Josh Hart, take him off because he could be up when JJ's up, but
I don't see JJ being on this team next year.
Having
He's getting traded.
Having Nikhil and RJ, because RJ can give you that scoring. He can give you that defense and that shooting from the outside, and can pair up with Nikhil, where those are my main 2 at the 2 guard, where Lonzo and Drew Holiday could be my 2
Lonzo's not even a 1. Or I'm sorry, Drew Holiday's not a 1. I mean,
yeah, he's a 2, but
that's why I'm saying
he's technically listed as a point guard right now because that's where they have him playing.
Yeah.
I think this Pelicans team, at least with that, I don't know if Lonzo's fit. They need to stretch the floor, and that's the thing that I just don't think Lonzo's ever going to get down into his head and into his game. So I think that Cole Anthony can provide some shooting. He's not consistent yet, but let's see what he does throughout 30 games in the college game, and maybe he's able to show that he's improved his shooting. He's got range, which I like. He just needs to hit it more often. So I think that he's probably the most intriguing to me. The Denny thing, I don't really want to, mainly just because I don't know if he's going to be a great shooter. And then you have another guy that's just kind of like BI. He's a guy that can handle the ball a bit, that is bigger, that can play defense, but again, then you're worrying more about, spacing. Where Cole Anthony,
he can space. That's what I'm saying. Like, he can space. He is.
But there's concerns about his free throw percentage. There's concerns about his actual consistency from the outside, and that's the biggest thing that worries me. I mean, in giving his piece, inconsistent shooter who converted 32% of his 3-pointers and 58% of his free throws over a huge sample size. Mechanics have been tweaked repeatedly to the point that you rarely see him shooting the same way. Yeah. That's worrying. And if you already have Lonzo Ball who can't shoot and doesn't have mechanics down, that's worrying to me. So I would stay away from them just for the fit that they have. They lack spacing, and I think that if he doesn't hit, if Denny doesn't improve his shooting, then you're just dealing with another player that can't shoot.
What about the Warriors? Was this the easiest pick in the world? All 3 of us have Wiseman. So the question I want to ask is this: if the Warriors find themselves in a situation this year, by the time we get to the draft, to where they can't get Wiseman, is that I don't want to say a fail, but is it basically Wiseman or bust for the Warriors in this draft? Or are there other guys you think that they'll look at and scout and they could get to where it's not just all on the Warriors getting Wiseman because it's a 5 that they can plug in there?
I think you're stretching there. The reason why we all have Wiseman going there is because they have the need for a center. And you look at who they have on their team, Clay and Steph. You need a guy who could set picks. This guy is physically imposing. So it's really just BPA here. It's not really a bust thing because if you don't get him, well, you still have Steph and Clay, hopefully coming back healthy next year. And you have Draymond if you don't trade him. And I don't know what the situation with D'Lo is. I'd move him with Steph breaking his hand for 3 months, or at least going to be reevaluated in 3 months. So I personally would think that this team's going to go in with Steph and Clay, which they should. Draymond might be around, and then with that, you need to fill out either the 3 or you need to fill out the 5. And I think adding a guy who can be physically imposing like Wiseman can would add something very new to this team that we haven't seen, a physically dominant big man on this team. I think it'd be an intriguing add. And I don't know if Draymond will be able to get up his 3-point shooting, but if he does, it makes that team even better because then you can just abuse people down low, and that's going to open up Steph and Clay outside even more. But no, it's not boom or bust for them because they still need a 3. They still need a wing, and they haven't had an elite wing. I mean, outside of KD, that they've been able to scout.
Yeah, they've just been suffering with Kevin Durant as their wing.
That they've been able to scout. Did they scout KD?
No. Well, technically, yes.
No, they poached him.
recruited.
Yeah,
They poached
recruited
him. They didn't scout him. I mean,
Scout.
Draymond was like, that guy who beat us pretty good.
They
I'm gonna
didn't
give him a call.
They didn't scout. They haven't scouted an elite wing. They had Clay. They had Draymond. They had Steph. Those are the guys.
The
that they
disrespect to
scouted.
Jacob Evans III.
Yeah. So I mean,
Or Chandra Lugadala.
Well, he's a point
They
guard.
weren't scouted.
He was just and
Yeah.
he was another recruit. Same with I mean, so I would say that
Yes, their draft picks
it's
as of
a
late.
3 or a 5. That's what they need. And if they're in a position to take an elite one, great. Is it bust? No, you still have Steph. So
No, and I think
it just sucks that those guys are injured.
right now our draft classes are so guard heavy because that's what we've seen out of these kids coming out of high school and AAU and the under 18s. But when it comes down to it, like I'm sure some wings will rise up through the ranks.
Like a Precious, like a Whitney. Then
There-
I'm looking on Tankathon to see just
there's a
who
chance,
the guys are
some of those
lower.
guys, or maybe we'll get some older guys who are able to step up, like Jordan Nwora. Like there are guys in college who are going to be good wings, and I think that's really. I agree. It's a 3 or a 5 with this team to balance them out. If they decide for whatever reasons to keep D'Lo, and they run Steph, D'Lo, Clay, Dre, and then
Wiseman, fuck.
that's terrifying
Nasty.
amount of offense.
Yeah, and I think
And you have physicality at the 4 and the 5. Clay can guard any 3 in the league because he's Clay Thompson. So, like, really, you're just kind of forfeiting the backcourt to Olays, but whatever. Good luck gaining through Draymond and Wiseman at the rim.
yeah, and I think the thing too is I think the reason why Wiseman isn't more attractive and isn't going top 3 at least in any of our mocks is because you've talked about this before. I mean, we know how much effect the 5 can have on the game, and it's little to none. How many elite big mans are winning, and they're winning because of elite big mans? I mean, you're winning with guys that are going to have their ball in their hands and attacking from the outside on a night in, night out basis. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, those are the guys that are raising things,
Trophies over their heads.
above their heads. Same with Kawhi Leonard last year.
Some of those intriguing ones are big men. We love Joel Embiid. We love Kat. We love Jokic. We love these
Jokic.
guys, but they've yet to win everything, and that's the problem. Is how much is the ball in your hand, and how much can you put around them? Because playing around a 5 is interesting because everyone kind of plays a little different. Even AD. Consensus, I'm not a 5, don't make me play the 5, I won't stand at the 5, I won't do this, I will refuse. Like, they went out and got Dwight Howard off the trash heap, who is playing amazingly because he's slimmed down and he's only 6'9". Like, come on, it's just, the 5 is such a hard position to center your team around and win when he's your best player.
The thing too is that it's easier to guard a guy that is making most of his touches in the post because then you could just double team him and then that way you're still
you
pressuring him
collapse.
into a little bit worse shots. And hey, even if he makes the shot, you're only hurting us with 2. Where if you're guarding Kevin Durant, it's gonna be tough to double team him because he's got space to dribble out of and then pass to whoever else is out there, whether it be Kyrie now that he's in the Nets or Karis LeVert, who then can attack you when you start double teaming and then you have wide open guy.
Like Joe Harris, who's just hitting them at like 47%.
Where you'd rather pressure a guy in the post and then have them kick out to a 3, and even if it's open, if you're not kicking out to Joe Harris, well then maybe they're only shooting that at 35%, and you might be giving up an open 3, but still you're probably going to force more turnovers and more missed shots than you are giving wide open 3s that are going to go in. So I mean, really the only player that can do that consistently is Jokic, passing out of the low post, but even then he hasn't had success in the playoffs yet. He's been very good in the playoffs in his short run, but they couldn't even get past Portland. So I think that when you have elite guards and you have elite wings, that's what's going to change your franchise. Warriors already have that, so they can take Wiseman.
Yeah.
Then let's move on. 5, the Kings. Sean had Scott Lewis. I've got Anthony Edwards, Dave, Jaden McDaniels. What's going on with the Kings here? Because with me, it was just who's the guy that's there, and I was looking more of guard and more of the 2 because they've got an intriguing situation, and I think it's going to go all year, is the Bogdan situation.
Yeah.
They haven't extended him yet. Is he going to be a guy that in free agency says, peace, I'm out here.
Yeah.
This team is giving me more money, and are the Kings going to match that when he gets it?
I think with the Buddy contract and the fact
Harrison
that they're going to have
Barnes
to
contract as well.
Yeah, the Harrison Barnes contract, they're going to have to extend Fox at some point as well. I think that unfortunately Bogdanovich is going to be moved away from. I really like him as a player, but I don't think he's going to be on this Kings team. The biggest thing that's worrying me is this team just looks like shit. This team does not look like this Kings team that was, early last season, that was fast and exciting and moving the ball up the floor. This team was supposed to be one of the best league pass teams in the league this year. Through 6 games,
Check
they
out
look
the
like
fast break. We're going to take a deep dive on that.
yeah, they look like dog shit. So I really don't want to see this team play because they've just looked horrible. And I don't know if that's because of Luke Walton. We discussed that on the fast break, whether he should be fired and whether he's the issue. But what I do think they need is a guy that is going to be athletic and a guy that can play that 2 and the 3 that, is just going to help out De'Aaron Fox and is going to help out Buddy Hield. I think you need a guy that is going to be a possible impactful player, and having a guy that can play great defense and shoot from the outside will just help any NBA team. And I think Scott Lewis can be a guy that is a little bit of a riser. Right now he's 10th on Gavini's board that he has. He's not really one of these guys that is super top of the list, but he is a guy that was a potential phenom at 13. He's gone some up and downs, but he's a great athlete. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. I really do think that he can be a guy that can be intriguing if he is able to add some more muscle. Right now he's 6'5", 184. If he's able to build up and add some weight to himself with that 7-foot wingspan, I think it could be an interesting 3 for this team. Or even then you can move Buddy older because we know he's big like Clay. So this team is concerning just because of the way that they've played so far.
Yeah.
But the talent is there. We know De'Aaron Fox is very good. We know Buddy Hield's very good. Marvin Bagley is currently injured, but we know he is a guy that can be a mismatch nightmare when healthy. So this team, I think, just needs to add more wing because shooting's never hurt a team, and you're losing Bogdanovich, and this guy can help.
Yeah, I agree with shooting's always good, defense always good, and you need to find a 3 answer because I know it wasn't Bogdanovich. There's a reason he's running the second unit. They went out and had to pay for Harrison Barnes because they needed someone who could come in, be a professional, run the 3 with that offense out there, and be consistent. And I love Bogdanovich. This kid, he's not even a kid. He's a grown ass man. I'll be honest. But is
he younger than us?
Yeah, he's younger than us. But he's older than a lot of guys on the team, which is the thing. And I'm cool with him walking. I really liked him. I like his hustle.
He's only 3 years younger than us. Well,
that's
2,
the thing.
really.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because we're
now.
not 30 yet, Dave. You're
Remember
getting
that.
closer than I am, but we're not 30 yet.
Remember that. It's just one of those situations where I feel like they need to attack the wing position, and I'm going for someone who I have huge upside potential on with Jaden McDaniels. He is a really, really big wing. He's 6'9", 6'10", crazy good wingspan. Standing reach is insane. Everything about him is all you need to do is work with him on his strength, his conditioning, get him built up. His shot will come with time. He just has the physical tools to be a star in the NBA. And as we're watching the players, youngish, because I'm going to put this guy in this category, but youngish players where they have this amazing athleticism to them, where they have the size, they have the right ball handling techniques. You look at Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Jonathan Isaac, guys who are long, guys who are big, and who have the ability to ball handle, create for themselves, create for others. That is a unique class in the NBA, and I think he falls in that mold. I know he doesn't have the tools that they have at this point in their careers, but he can absolutely grow into them. I would put my money on this guy as an intriguing prospect this year. I've been watching him for 2 years now, and it's ever since his older brother Jalen hit the college ranks, and it was okay, this guy's good. Watching his highlights, look, who's that guy over there though? That's his little brother. His little brother is better than him.
Who's that kid that kind of looks like him?
Exactly.
Oh, that's his little brother.
Great size. It's just a matter of he just needs time. And he might be one of those players who, early in his career, he might need to just grow his size, and he won't take off till, year 3, year 4. But I truly believe that he has the ability to be an all-around stud. So I'm going for someone at the 3 who can play well with this lineup that they've got with Hield, Fox, Bagley, hopefully Giles in the future.
And if the Kings do end up in here, it'll be interesting. I know we've talked about it before, so I'm not going to harp on it, but who from those 3s kind of makes their way up the draft boards into this top 10, because we're not going to have this, the guard heavy you see right now. I'm never going to say never because Justin Bieber taught me that, but
yikes.
There's going to, I threw that out there because I knew they'd get that reaction from Sean. But, I mean, one of these 3s has got to perform this year to rise up draft boards and be a top 10 pick, right?
Yeah. Edwards would be a great pick if he was available for me. I'd have him. You have him currently going to the Kings. I just think you need someone that's going to fit in that mold of playing quick and playing fast. McDaniels does do that. He is athletic. I just think that Scott Lewis does have that next level athleticism from what I've read and what I've seen. I'm not like super versed on these guys just yet. So I haven't been watching Scott Lewis for 2 years now.
That's fine.
This is the intro.
But what I have seen is, I want the Kings to get back to that style of we're going to play as fast as we possibly can. And Scott Lewis can do that, and he is explosive. And I think Edwards would be that as well, and McDaniels too, in ways would add that as well. So I think we all have the same idea that this team needs to get more athletic. This team needs to add more speed, and that they can do that in this draft. Scott Lewis is super athletic. Anthony Edwards is super athletic. Jalen McDaniels is super athletic. We just went for different guys who were available. But yeah, this Kings team can help themselves. I hope they're not in this situation, though. I want this team to be pushing for the playoffs because this is what they should be doing. And right now it's just disappointing that through 6 games we see this bad of a performance.
What about the next team, the Thunder? This is a team that draft picks. We already get the jerseys of future picks for the Thunder. I know we're only talking about this one pick, but I'll just take it for me why I did Cole Anthony with him being available.
Tell me why he fell this far on your board, because that's the intriguing thing to me.
This was Dave's number 1.
Yeah, exactly. Your number 1 fell to 6 for me, and it's
and
just
vice
because,
versa for me to you.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the same reasoning for you as the same reasoning for me. There was not a team on here that needed that point guard, needed that guy, because if the Bulls would have done it.
I almost put Bulls with LaMelo. I'll be honest,
if I was the Bulls, fuck it, I would take LaMelo because I would want a LaMelo Ball Bulls jersey. But we
would
took
trade for his brother.
Yeah, we took Kobe White last year, so it's to me, I feel like those would clash. You look at the Pelicans. You've got Drew Holiday. And I know you. Drew's
He's a two guard.
But
I will scream from the mountaintops until I die.
They've got Lonzo, and I'm more of a Lonzo guy than some. You look at the Warriors, they have Steph. You look at the Kings, they've got De'Aaron Fox. These guys have their ball handler in place, or the guy that they want to be that.
I agree.
The Thunder, here's the thing. They have that guy in place, I think. Shea. Shea's going to be their future one. But I look at the other 2 ones. Chris Paul, he old. He get hurt.
Well said.
Dennis Schroeder shouldn't even be on
this
team anymore. Should have been traded or will be traded, I think. I don't think he ends his contract with the Thunder. So that means to me, Cole Anthony's there. You go ahead and take him. You pair Shea and Cole Anthony. You let Cole Anthony run that 2. You let Shea run the 1. There you go.
I think the good part about that is I think Shea can play the 2. So those guys,
then also. Versatility.
I think it'd be a great pick. I think the fact that he fell that far is a little bit crazy. I think Cole Anthony's a top 5 player in this draft without a doubt. I don't agree. I think I just don't agree with your Denny rankings, and I don't think I agree with your RJ Hampton ranking. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is Cole Anthony would be a no-brainer if he's available for the Thunder here.
Yep.
It doesn't matter about position. This team needs potential. That's all they need.
That's what they're doing.
And that's why I went with Denny. Denny is a guy that has a ton of potential. He has a ton of potential to scream, at that 3 position to be a playmaker. Being a 3, we talked about how important it is with, Jaden McDaniels. We talked about a little bit with, the lack of wing talent in this draft class. He could be a guy that can grow into a playmaker, and this team could take a shot. We know that, international players can be volatile. He's not playing like Luka out there that we know this kid's going to be a star. We don't know if he's going to be like Kristaps, that he comes out of nowhere and plays fantastic. He might be a Dragon Bender where people overrate him. He's just a flop.
Dragon Bender is not a flop. He is still playing in the league, right? And he is still 21.
Right now, is he a flop?
He's younger than some of the people in this draft.
Okay,
in this top 10.
Okay, here's the thing that I will counter with that. He's on a second team, and he is that young.
And he's succeeding on his second team.
It's been 6 games.
Succeeding.
They've moved away from him for a reason. So I think that.
Are you going to talk about the smart moves of the Suns front office right now? Is that what you're going to quote at me as proof that Dragon Bender has failed?
He couldn't put himself in that lineup on a horrible team.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe.
Which I just got to throw out.
Eric Bledsoe didn't.
Not in this top 10.
Eric Bledsoe, Eric Bledsoe
conundrum.
didn't want to be there. So that's not really on their fault. They didn't.
I'm just
saw his potential.
They made Dragon Bender.
And Isaiah
Goran
Thomas,
Dragic.
after the Suns, had a phenomenal year with the Celtics. Then went to the Cavs
got broke.
and left.
You can't
and went to
blame him.
the Lakers. No, but it wasn't like they missed out on LeBron James or anything like that. They missed out on a guy who had a really good season. Probably wouldn't have had that good season if he was on the Suns. This team, Dragon Bender was slow-footed and didn't look good out there on the Suns team. He was bad, and they moved on for him, thankfully, for a reason. I don't know what Denny is going to be, but this is a team that can take a shot, and if he is really good, great. But they have so many picks that I think it is worth that they take a shot. I mean, I really don't know if there's a guy that they'd be missing out on. RJ Hampton would be interesting for this team. If you want to go with a guy that might be more of a security pick, that if you want to hit on all of the draft picks that you picked up, he could be a guy that is in that range because he is pretty consistent. He doesn't have an elite skill, but he is very well-rounded. He could fit very well with this Thunder team. But, I would say that, Denny is probably the most boom or bust pick, and I think that he'd be an interesting pick.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, I had the opposite of what Ricky has. I had Cole Anthony at 1, and I had LaMelo Ball falling all the way down to 6 to the Thunder. I absolutely love the pairing of Shea at the 2, LaMelo at the 1 for this team going forward. I'm super intrigued by adding someone who has the court vision that he has, basically. And, that would work out really well because Shea can play defense. And this year, Shea's just turned up the dial to 11 on his score, and he's like, look, this is a team where I can just go out there and get mine because Chris Paul's cool taking a back seat. So as long as you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. I really have loved to see the growth of Shea on the Thunder, and I like their young wings. Like I really like the idea of Darius Bazley continuing on being a point forward for them. Hamidou, monster. Terrence Ferguson has athleticism and had that 3-point shot last year. This year, he's still working on that shot, trying to get some consistency out of it. But they really have a lot of great pieces. If there was a 4 who I absolutely loved here, I would target it. But for me, LaMelo Ball, most talented player left on the board. Absolutely happy to have him fall to the Thunder.
And just so everyone knows, this year, as we go through full mock drafts with all the other ones, the Thunder are going to have their own 1 through 20. Then it goes to Philly if it's outside, so they'll have one pick there. And then between 11 and 30, so they're going to get this pick, they get the Nugget pick this year as well. So that we're going to be drafting at least 2 guys for the Thunder in all mock drafts. The Wizards, who are next, this one to me was kind of an easy decision because I look at it and I go, all right, John Wall's coming back. You already have Bradley Beal. You've drafted your guy in Rui to be your 4, Dave, because I know you don't think he's a 3.
Because he isn't.
You already got Thomas Bryant down low. I really like Mo Wagner, although he needs to grow his game before we get to his final product. I just thought Theo being here. He's a guy that can add deep. He can kind of be, and it's not an exact 1-for-1, but like what I see Frank with the Knicks, where it's like Theo can come in, be the guy that, you know what, maybe we need some defense. We need some 3-point ball off the bench. He could be that guy that fits those situations, but also to your second unit, you might be able, if John Wall goes down, all right, we can put Theo in. He's not going to take the touches from Rui. He's not going to take the touches from Beal. He's going to look to facilitate and get those guys the ball rather than, hey, I'm taking the ball for myself to put it in the basket. I don't know if you were thinking similarly.
I do. I think
you also had Theo.
I think the Frank call is just ridiculous though. Like they're not close as far as what they are as players.
Yeah, I just mean like the role they are.
I just feel like you're going lazy with the Euro.
The role that they are, and they're both from France, so there's that.
No, Frank doesn't shoot threes. Frank doesn't have the court vision that Theo has.
The defensive side.
Yes, they both play defense. I will give you that.
No, it's just like Eli Okobo because he's also French.
Yes. Yeah. 100% same player.
He actually looks more like Eli also. So I mean, like I first looked at it, I was like, oh, cool. He used a stock photo of Eli Okobo.
Terrible.
I'm kidding.
Terrible people.
It's a joke.
I know. I like it. I like it for the reasons you said, though. He has the ability to take threes, but he's always looking for the assist. He is definitely a great fit for if you need to step in and they want to roll with a 3-guard lineup. Say they don't love having Thomas Brown. Brown Jr. Why can't I think of his first name? Troy. Thank you. Troy Brown Jr. at the 3 for the future of this team, and they're still kind of searching for what's that lineup going to look like. I could see this going with a 3-guard lineup of John Wall, Bradley Beal, and having Theo out there. All 3 of those guys together could be really intriguing. You still have good size at the 5 with Bryant to stop people at the rim, and then obviously Rui needs some work, but I like what I've seen out of him. I'm really happy that he's able to take advantage of the situation he's in today. So Theo, secondary ball handler, maybe 3rd at this point in his career, but you want to see him grow, and he's got a ton of upside. I love the defensive IQ, and he's the insurance policy for John Wall.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I mean, he's an intriguing pick, Theo, as running a 3-guard lineup would be intriguing. I do think that Rui's best spot from what I've seen so far is at the 4.
Yep.
So I think
Thank
that
you.
does open that 3 spot.
Yep.
But
right now, we're stuck in the land of guard. Like I really went down this list looking for someone who can be an imposing 3 who can play defense.
That's why I went with Khalil Whitney, because you look at the guys that he's projected to be like.
Yep.
Super athletic, which I love, and he's got a great wingspan at 7 feet, but he's being compared to Thad Young. He's being compared to Dorian Finney-Smith, Jaylen Brown, guys that can play defense. And his jumper isn't there yet, but when you're getting the ball passed you from a great guard like John Wall, who is always averaging over 10 assists a game, Bradley Beal, who is an improving passer as well, and Rui Hachimura can pass the ball. He's not a bum. When he gets pressured down in low post, he does turn the ball over a bit, but when he has a clear mind and a clear lane, he can get you the ball. And I think this is a guy that Khalil Whitney, when he does grow and he is improving and his stroke isn't that bad, if he's able to get an open look, he can sink it. And I think he could really be like an Otto Porter. And, it sucks that they traded away, but this guy, you won't be paying $20 million.
No, I understand.
Which I
you
think
don't
is
have to max.
which is the good part about Khalil Whitney. I think that he could possibly just be like another Otto Porter Jr. for this team. And if Otto Porter Jr. wasn't worth he's not on this team because of the contract he had.
Yep.
Well, Khalil Whitney can do that for you. So I think
do you have that much faith in a shot? Because to me, like that's the biggest thing. I'm like, I could see him being another Stanley Johnson. I could see him being the mold of this is our guy who can come in and play defense, but he's going to be a liability at times because of his lack of offense. And that's I'm not shut down on him hard. I'm just going with the until I see him on the court, I can't put him in my 10.
100%. And I don't know enough about it to be like, this guy is going to be Otto Porter, who is consistently near 40% throughout his career.
Insane.
But he is a guy that, at least what Jonathan Gavini's been saying, shows flashes of offensive ability offensively. One of the top scorers at the Nike EYBL, made 37% of his three-point attempts in 19 EYBL games, and has projectable shooting stroke, both with his feet set and off the dribble. So he's good, and he's good in open court as well. But then he also comes out and says jumper is prone to streakiness, converted only 66% of his free throws attempts in the EYBL as well. Needs to improve the speed of his release, but he is going to a place in Kentucky that John Calipari is a fantastic coach.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen guys that come out of that team, and hey, maybe Kevin Knox isn't a good example, but guys like Shai Gilgeous and PJ Washington are that guys that have been able to improve their shot at Kentucky
He's
very
gonna have
recently
a great
as
guard
well.
out there on his team too.
Yeah, so I do in Maxey. So I do think that it is a guy that isn't right now a top 10 player, but we always have to look at guys that can jump up. And with his body, and if he is able to hit threes from the outside, he can definitely be a guy that could bounce back. So I think that the Wizards do need a 3, and I think right now on the board, he is the best available 3. Not the best player. He's going next to my Grizzlies, who you guys have, and Theo. Yeah. I think he's the best available player on my board right now. Yeah. But I would say they need a 3, and I think that he can provide spacing to that team if he's able to improve his shot, which is 100% provable. He only played in 19 games, too. So maybe if he is trying to show a little bit more of a shot and just playing team basketball, he can improve. So I think that at least his size is probably the most intriguing part about it.
Athletic wings are it's a scary good, scary bad. Because I mentioned Stanley Johnson, but also you have Josh Jackson, the guy who it's come out now that in college it was or even high school it was you gonna work on a shot? Nah. That's not important. That coach doesn't even can't get him to work on his own shot because I can get to the hole anytime I want to. Yeah. And that works for him. Great, but athletic wings, great in theory. Let's see how his shot ends out in college.
The ones like Hamadou.
Yeah, what we've seen a ton too is just
that man.
Hamadou
flies.
What we've seen too a ton with all these players is none of these guys are great shooters.
There's only a couple of knockdown shooters in college as of today.
LaMelo isn't a great shooter. Anthony Edwards isn't a great shooter. Scott Lewis is a decent shooter. Denny is a streaky shooter. Khalil Whitney is a streaky shooter. I think RJ is a little bit iffy too. I don't think RJ is lighting it up. I could be absolutely wrong about that, so please correct me if I am. But I think there isn't more of these guys.
RJ's had a couple of good games as of late. I will give him that. He's trending upwards right now.
But there isn't one of those guys that. Really, no one's come out recently and been a guy that lights it up. There's no Trae Young, I guess, but am I missing anyone who's been a recent draft pick that's a great shooter? Because even then, Luka,
Shamet.
Yeah, but top 10 pick.
Oh, you may have me there.
RJ's been iffy, so a lot of these guys that they've been drafting, there hasn't been a
Tyler Hero was the best shooter in college last year from the volume we were talking about. So he's looked amazing and also awful at times. So
Hero and Trae Young are the only two that really jump out to my mind that have been top lotto picks. I think Hero was 15, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there hasn't been any of these guys that come out and are like, crazy shooters. So that's always the thing. We always go for the athletic guys when, some of the best players are just.
You project upside. You hope that those basic skills can get filled in, but it's just not the case for everybody. But Whitney definitely has a chance to be something special.
Yep.
I mean, even, and I know you mentioned Trae Young, so I got to mention this guy's name. Even Steph was 7th overall. So, I mean,
But
that was
Steph
probably.
Steph was because of his ankles.
Yeah,
Steph was
but
because of his ankles and because he was a junior.
Would Steph have been the highest drafted best shooter from college? Because he was. I know his senior year he took a dip.
He came in shooting 40% from 3.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and his
Steph
senior
has been,
year numbers were worse than his junior were the best numbers.
Weirdly enough, the greatest shooter in NBA history was the greatest shooter as well in college. Hard to imagine that projected.
One last slam down. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Cam Johnson is one of the best shooters, but on the other hand, you have Cam Reddish, who is literally made one shot out of 17 attempts this year.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
From UNC. Got drafted by the Suns.
Remember? He's 25.
Oh.
Yeah, he was drafted 11th last year. But right before him was Cam Reddish, a comp for Whitney maybe.
Yeah.
Great defense. But Reddish just can't hit a shot to save his freaking life right now.
I forgot about Cam Johnson.
Yeah. He shot incredibly well. That was
He's played in 3 games so far.
Yeah.
3 games so far, 7 of 12, 4 of 9. Damn. I mean, impressive numbers, but he's only played
well, the Suns have been
36
competing.
minutes.
The Suns have been competing really well, and I don't think anyone really expected that out the gates with their roster and competition.
I guess, but even then, that was a bad pick because he's 25. But he also wasn't young, too. So, anyways.
But let's move in. You said you've got the best guy. Why Theo Manning to the Grizzlies? Because I've got Josh Green.
I almost pronounced his name.
Dave's got Melida.
I was like, Theo Mannion, eh?
Theo Mannion. I'm thinking of Nico. But you've got Theo. I've got Josh Green. Dave's got RJ. Why are you going with Melida on there?
Well, I mean, I said he was best player available. At least
it's just BPA strictly.
At 7, if the Wizards were picking best player available, they'd go Theo. He falls to the Grizzlies because they go Whitney because they need a 3. And I think not only does Theo the best player, but he also fits next to Ja Morant. You look at that team has players that I think if you move Jaren Jackson to the 5, and they even have Jonas Valanciunas, who's a good veteran who could still play the 5. But if you move him to the 5, put Brandon Clark at the 4, and then at the 3, if you want to go Dylan Brooks or you want to fill in any of the guys that they really do have, because they do have a lot of depth on that team.
They've got a lot of interesting wings.
Yeah. You can put anyone at that wings. You then have a guy that can play great defense in Theo, who has an improving shot, that can play next to one of the most creative and great playmakers that we've seen come out outside of Trae Young in the draft in recent memory in Ja Morant. I think he's a perfect fit. I mean, you have a guy that can play defense, and Ja isn't a schlub and a schlub on defense, but he isn't.
His size makes it difficult for him to stay in front of people.
He's not lights out. Where Theo, 6'5", big imposing guard, I think he'd be great. I think it's a natural fit right there. And the Grizzlies, I think that's probably the best fit that they have, and probably the best fit of any of these teams so far. Maybe outside of the Warriors taking Wiseman.
Yeah, I would if Theo was on my board. He just got picked up by the Wizards, so I went to my next backup as far as a combo guard, and I really love RJ Hampton's potential here. Because again, similar thing. He can assist, he can rebound, he can score, he can do everything there. I think him paired next to a true court general like Ja Morant would really be successful for him growing his career. And it's just a nice complementary piece for this team. Still has great upside, still has good size, still has the ability to score. So I'm not sold on Dylan Brooks, but I still view the 2 or the 3 as the best option for this team. Yeah,
and we've talked about it. It's tough to find superstars at that 3 level, but it's pretty easy to find replacement level. That's why I would pay everything in the world to get a guy like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, any of those guys. Those guys are the guys.
Yep.
But paying Jaylen Brown 4 years, 115, that's where I find it short-sighted, because you can find a guy like Jaylen Brown for cheaper. Yep. And that's the thing is with the 3, it's tough to find the guy, but it's easy to find a guy.
And with me, I'll be honest, this is the one pick where I look at my top 10 and I go, oh, Ricky, this is the laziest one. Just because it's do I like what I see? Josh Green, I want to see how he does at Arizona.
Yeah.
The tape that we have right now, does he have phenomenal hands? There's ones where he'll pick the ball up like this, and it's just fling it across the court backwards.
He was having fun at IMG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one where he does this behind his back, behind someone else's back. It's what the... And part of me is just the 2 guards that the Grizzlies have right now on Spot Rec, I'm looking... Grayson Allen ain't an answer to be a starting lineup guy. Like, I know they're loaded at the 3 and they kind of double that with Ja, but it's like Josh Green could possibly give them a guy where it's like, okay, we've got a solidified answer at the 2 and not a guy like Grayson Allen who, to me, is a bench player at best. Like a decent bench player at best is what I think is going to be his career. But let's go final 2, Pistons first. Both Sean and I got Nico from Arizona. Dave's got Maxey. We're pretty much point guarding it down. This team
100%
needs a point guard. Reggie Jackson out 4
110%.
weeks. That was
that doesn't even matter.
Sham
That's a
says
blessing
today.
to the Pistons.
They got
Like-
Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose isn't what he like. Derrick Rose is good, but
The
he's not
31-year-old Derrick
2010
Rose
Derrick
is
Rose.
Sean so loudly
Is he
proclaimed.
not 31 years old?
He is
Has he
old.
not had multiple knee surgeries?
Yep.
I'm not saying
All those are true.
I'm
I
not
can't
saying
remember.
things
Was
that
it
aren't
this
facts. You
podcast
guys
or
are just
super
homers.
fans?
Super
Can't
fans.
remember at this point.
Super fans.
Anyways.
Point being, he's having a resurgence in his career. Last year was a huge step back to where he was. This year, he says he truly trusts himself in his body. He understands how to work with it and how to move with confidence, and we're seeing it on the court. So I love that, but he is not the future. You're a team where I love Tyrese Maxey. This kid absolutely has handles. I think I was reading somebody's post on Reddit, and like he looks like he floats when he the footsteps he takes is so light with his feet. Such
He's
good
actually not
coordination.
touching the ground.
with-
He's floating right above it.
Exactly. Good coordination, good handles, good footwork. He just has explosiveness to his game, and he keeps his eyes open on the court. I love the idea of him fitting on this Pistons team. Tell me what to love about Nico Mannion other than his hops. Like the kid can step into shots, and he has amazing hops.
He's a solid guy.
Yeah.
Like he can do everything well, and that's what I like about him. Because if you're able to keep Blake around and you have guys like Sekou who is developing, if you keep Andre Drummond around, you need a guy who's able to get these guys the ball because Blake and Andre, they can score. Andre Drummond just put up 24 points a game. He's a guy that can be efficient around the hoop. He just can't shoot free throws.
Yep.
He's not aggressive enough defensively, but if you do have Nico Mannion, he's going to provide playmaking, he's going to provide speed, and he's going to provide pretty much what Reggie Jackson did, but actually be able to pass the ball and not be a black hole of offense, which I do like. He could shoot from the outside as well, which would pair well with Kennard. So I really do like Nico Mannion just because he is a very safe pick.
Yeah.
It depends on what they want to do with Blake Griffin and what they want to do with Andre Drummond. If they want to go full rebuild, this might not be the pick, but Nico Mannion, I think, is just a guy. He is just so solid. I don't think he's going to be a guy that can... I don't think he's going to be a guy out of the league in 10 years. He's a guy that's going to be a starter, I think, for multiple years in his career. I just don't know if he's going to be an all-star, but I think he can be a guy that will, when we do our rankings, he's going to be around that 15 to or that 10 to 20 range. He's going to be in that 11 to 20 video where he is going to be very solid, might not be a superstar, but he's a guy that's not going to be, he's not going to, he's just going to do his job. Honestly, he's just going to do his job.
I look at it too, and like looking at his film, like Dave, does he just got hops? I look at it in this sense of I know I'm comparing him to someone like Derrick Rose, where is he going to be Derrick Rose? No, don't even get that comparison in your head. But like I look at the Pistons and what the style of a guard like Derrick Rose has brought to this team. Derrick's not going to be there forever. Nico has a similar style of play where it's not like I'm going to hit you with the crossover, hit you with the 3.
Yep.
No, he's driving to the basket looking to finish. And I mean, with Blake and what he's developed from 3, with what we've seen from Luke Kennard so far this year, this team might just need a guy that, hey, Derrick Rose ain't going to be here forever. This guy can shoot from the outside, but can also drive it in and be that driving force while, what Sean said, getting the ball to other people. And then the last pick, maybe the hardest pick. I just put a guy here because I think they're going to go with a specific front court over back court.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers, Sean's got RJ, Dave's got Precious. I went Isaiah Stewart, Washington. So, Dave, I'm going to go to you first because you almost didn't have a pick until we started this.
I literally didn't.
Why did you put Precious? Because even as you typed it in, you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to go Precious, and I don't really want to.
Because he's got upside. Like, he was a late bloomer to the game. He didn't start his career off playing basketball as a young kid. So I get excited about guys who have that potential later in life. Like last year was like the story of Rui. He's someone who didn't even speak English until like fluently until his second year in college.
Yeah.
So he was basically just working with a coach and a translator trying to figure out, this is how you want me to play. And like Rui has that upside potential in the NBA even as an older player. Precious as well. He is 20 years old right now going into Memphis. It's crazy. He'll be 21 by the draft. But that's what I meant by like there's such a difference in age groups for this one class, but he has a physicality. He is strong. He is built like an NBA player already, and he can slash to the rim. He can play inside, and I'm excited by the fact that if he starts to add the shot, then he becomes a dangerous weapon out there. So if he can defend right now, he can score, he can go. I want this Cavs team to go for potential, and I think that he's someone who, during the season, if we see him hit some level of consistency with his shot, give you a couple of flashes of hope with his shooting motion, then absolutely it could be a great pickup for them, because I know Kevin Love is not in the timeline for this young backcourt.
He's been killing
Sexland.
it, though.
Yeah.
He's 17 points and 6.8
How many
reports.
rebounds did he have against the Bulls?
Like
that's
27?
20.
It's awesome.
20.
It's fun to see.
Yeah, he's not the future, though. Sexland is the future.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too with that is right now, and this is where I went RJ Hampton.
Best backcourt.
If you have two point guards that are both 6'1", how many assists per game do you think that I would tell you? Like if I was like, you have two guards that are 6'1", how many assists do they have combined?
Neither one of them is known for assisting. That's a problem. So,
and that was the biggest concern.
Yep.
Colin Sexton has 2 assists per game.
Yep.
Darius Garland has 3.4.
Yep.
So combined with 2 6'1" guards, you have a combined of 5.4 assists.
Yep.
Your leading assist getter on this team is Kevin Love with 4.8.
Yeah.
So the 6'9" forward almost has more assists than your 2 guards combined.
Yep.
That's an issue. I think that RJ Hampton, he is more of a shooting guard, but he is extremely young, which I do love, and I think that they saw that. I think they're going for the potential thing.
Can they draft another guard?
But here's the thing: what's the potential, right?
Yeah.
And
I get you.
RJ Hampton has probably the most potential of guys left on my board.
Yep.
Darius Garland was a potential pick because, oh my God, he might be the next,
Dame Lillard.
Dame Lillard.
Yep.
They went with Kevin Porter late in the draft because, oh my God, he might be the next, slashing 6-man dynamite
with hitching
player.
a shot,
he might be, like an Amon Shumpert.
I loved him. No, don't get me wrong. I really did like him.
He's a guy that was a potential pick because he had a lot of question marks. I think RJ Hampton's a potential pick, and this is a guy that I think can play a smaller 3, and he is a guy that can pass. So if you do have issues with Darius Garland, you do have issues with Colin Sexton, RJ Hampton can probably just at least move the ball around, and maybe it will kill less possessions. And I think that's the thing that intrigues me the most is, if you have 3 guys that can pass, maybe none of them are elite at it, but all of them can do it. And all of them can possibly take turns at running an offense, which I think just gives you more versatility and could open shots up for Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, and RJ Hampton as well. And if they do want to ride with K-Love, he's still extended. He's obviously proven that he could play well with Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. So I think you're going with the potential pick here. He's extremely young. I think he can move the ball around at a position of a smaller 3.
Here's the interesting thing. Dave, you say, can they go with another guard? Do you want to know the only guys that will be under contract when this season ends and free agency starts?
Kevin Porter.
Kevin Porter Jr. is one.
Darius Garland.
Darius Garland is one.
Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton is another.
Matthew Dellavedova.
No.
Oh, okay.
He's up at the end of the year.
Who was that center from 2 years ago?
You've got both point guards
Larry-
and shooting guards.
Larry Nance.
Larry Nance.
They're all there. Larry Nance.
Tristan Thompson.
No, he's up at the
TT's
end of the
up.
year.
K-Love.
K-Love.
Yep.
You got what? 2 more.
Jetty.
They're their 3s. Jetty
Yep. They signed to an extension this year.
and a guy they drafted last year who I liked out of Belmont.
Oh, Dylan Windler.
Dylan Widmer.
Yeah,
7
Widmer.
guys. 7 guys. Like you
2
look
players
at it,
that I forgot about from last year's draft: Cam Johnson and Dylan Windler.
Best shooters in the draft,
just
potentially.
looking at their roster on Spotlight.
Yep.
Knight, Clarkson, Dellavedova, all UFAs at the end of the year. You've got Henson, UFA, McKinney, RFA, TT and Zizic, UFAs.
Zizic.
This team might have it to where it's like, you know what? We're just riding with the guys we got, and if we need to draft another guard, fuck it. We just won't re-sign Dellavedova. We just won't re-sign Jordan Clarkson. Like, they have...
The problem
they have
is
a
you have
weird
3
wiggle
draft
room.
classes
exactly.
of guard.
Oh, I know.
At that
I know,
point.
Dave.
And
that's why I went with Isaiah Stewart. Give me a 4 because I'm assuming...
Maybe a small ball 5.
Give me a small ball 5-4 because I think TT's gone. I think TT's going to get some money from... Not a
It
max,
is a
but
weak
like... I
free
feel
agency
like
class.
he's going to get some money from a team, especially if he keeps balling out like he is right now.
I mean, if the Warriors don't get Don't get James
Don't get
Wiseman.
James Wiseman, and they go after
TT
TT.
in free agency for on the cheap might not be the worst.
TT and Draymond down low.
That might not be terrible. It's a great rebounder. But no, I don't know. It's an interesting pick there. This is just a team
They've got
where
flexibility is what I'm trying to get
I
at.
can't imagine going guard 3 years in a row, like point guard 3 years in a row. It blows my freaking mind.
Why not? Instead of like the Game of Zones,
I mean,
the
to be
Rockets
fair,
thing,
to be
why
fair,
not have all the point
the
guards?
76ers took center 3 years in a row. And
Worked.
Did not work out bad for them.
Worked.
point.
So I can't really. Sorry.
Didn't they technically take 4 because they took Ben Simmons?
Good point.
Dunker
Good point.
position.
So
That's for you, Jake.
Here's
The
the
big gay.
here's the last thing I want to end on, and this might be a surprise, like a shocking question. I should have prepped you guys for this.
Probably.
Who's one guy that you didn't have in
sorry.
your top 10 that you think by the time we get to, I'll say, middle of the draft conversation, who's a guy that's not in your top 10 now that you think, yes, we will be talking about, and when we look back next year, we'll be like, God, how did we not have this guy in our top 10?
I'm so glad I'm on this side of the table because I'm going to pull Ricky Widmer. I'm going to give you 2 guys.
Good.
And I'm going to give you one guy that can
I
fall
love
out
it.
of the top 10, and I'll give you one guy that could jump into the top 10. I think
love
the guy
it.
that's most likely to fall out would be Denny. I'm not fully sold on him. I
Okay.
think that Denny Avdia could fall out, and I think one guy that could jump in. I think Precious is definitely an intriguing name. Jaden I don't have in my top 10, but he's 100% a name that could as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with one guy that just hasn't been named though, a guy that is kind of just outside of all of our mocks. I would say that a guy that I loved last year, he is a sophomore, which I think is a big reason that he is not in this, because you have so many guys that are good in this draft that are young. But if we want to go with the guy that was really good last year, that I was really high on, that I had in the first round, Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois.
you taking my boy.
I really like him. I think if he improves his game, if he's able to become a better facilitator and he's able to continue his shooting, I think that it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I like him a lot. So I'll shout out Ayo.
What
about you,
Didn't you have
Dave?
2? Didn't you say you were going to do 2?
Yeah, he did.
No, I said a guy that was going to fall out.
yeah.
And then,
Gotcha.
So I at first didn't answer Ricky's question like he typically does for me.
Right.
And then
Fair
I did
enough.
answer it.
Fair enough. I'll go wild card. I'll go best shooter, I think, in college potentially right now is Isaiah Joe. I think if he puts up 20-plus points a night at over 40%, shooting like 7 a game, it's going to be hard to pass on someone who's able to score at that rate. It's just really good. He's really good. It's just a question of how much people are going to value that outside shooting.
No John Morant this year? You don't have a guy that's completely off everybody's radar? Murray State? You don't have one of those guys?
Had I known about this, I would have done a little more research. You're putting me on the spot, and I don't
Thanks,
have
Ricky.
one.
Shitty job as a host.
I'll get better at it.
I'm joking.
I'm gonna,
100% kidding.
just as Sean said, I'm doubling down, baby. I got 2, and I'm doubling up from the Big Ten. Ayo's my boy. I think if he has a great year this year, we will be talking lottery for sure. We'll be talking top 10. Another one to keep your eye on. Keep your eye on those Terrapins out of Maryland. Jalen Smith is a guy that Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year, McDonald's All-American. This is a guy that coming into this year 2 at Maryland, could have a big year in his hometown, being from Baltimore, playing for Maryland. So I'll double down with the 2 Big Ten guys.
A final name I want to throw out there.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of people like him. I'm not 100% sold on him, but he's a lefty, so I got to give him some love. Killian Hayes. A lot of people like Killian Hayes. So
They do, yeah.
I'll throw him out there. Intriguing name, at least, that we didn't mention.
It sounds
I know
like,
people like him.
every time I hear it, it sounds like a WWE name to me. Like a name of a wrestler, like Killian Hayes.
I just think of Killian Tilly. He's like the mean version of Killian Tilly.
Exactly.
And also the point guard version and nothing like Killian Tilly. But yeah, no, I think that he's a guy that's been up and down. Hasn't been super consistent, but people like some of the stuff that he's been seeing from him, and he's from our favorite French league, the LNB. We love him. Tony Parker, Frank Ntilikina, Eli Okubo. We love that league. So yeah, shout out to the LNB. But I actually think he's in a different league now. But he was from the LNB originally. But yeah, now he's with the. I'm not even going to say this league's name. He's at least a part of the basketball Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. I just hear that and I just think soccer, because doesn't soccer have a Bundesliga?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
it's the basketball Bundesliga.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. If
Or
you're
the
listening,
Easy Credit BBL.
if you're listening all the way to this point, you are a great fan of MVP. You are the real MVP, because we have gone, gentlemen, for, it says an hour 49, but I'm probably going to cut the first 10 minutes and then the 5 minutes of Sean
An hour
trying
and
to
a
get
half.
his draft thing. Well over an
And we
hour
still have
and a
another
half.
podcast.
And we're gonna do fast break right after this. Make sure to check us out, patreon.com/mostvaluable podcast to support us. Twitch.tv/mostvaluable podcast. Eventually these podcasts will be live. We'll let you know when we're officially going to do that. But thank you guys for sticking around with us. Let us know what you think down below. And as always, have a good day, everybody.